Very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very happy to be in Kenya, and I'm glad that you responded to the invitation and turned up in such a big number. So before I start my presentation, I think let's first clear the madam who was asking about vaccination. We are lucky. It took us some time in Uganda to access vaccines locally, but now we have vaccines. I think they are even accessible to you. I also understand that Farmer's Choice sells pig vaccines here, so it is quite easier to access vaccines now in the East African region. So she talked about stillbirth and other issues. We have issues related to parvovirus and leptospirosis. So there is a vaccine that you have to give to gilts before insemination. In Uganda, we use one from Zoetis called Falosure. I don't know what you're using here, but majorly you want something that will control parvovirus and other infections that will affect the reproductive performance of your sows. So we give 2 doses to gilts before insemination, and then give a booster dose later. You have to also inseminate boas if you're using natural insemination. If you're not using natural insemination, it means the source of your semen already gave the vaccine, so the semen is safe. Pregnant sows and gilts, we try to control diarrhea, and we give Litagard. Litagard is also from Zoetis. So the piglets can access antibodies from the mother's milk. There is also Forstella for porcine sarcovirus. Sarcovirus causes the wasting syndrome. So that one goes to the piglets. And then Lepisure for control of pneumonia. It is also given to piglets. All these vaccines are accessible. And today we are going to focus on efficiency. What Joe has been teaching you this morning is very important. In fact, I was surprised about 2 issues. The first issue is the limited use of BabiStar. It's quite surprising. And the second issue is the use of the common sow and winner feed. We had that problem in Uganda some time back, but I don't think anybody today can talk about sow. It's not my computer, so I don't know. Someone has to assist me. I want to project this. Okay. So my name is Christopher Mlindwa. I work with Prime Pork Uganda Limited, and we also work on the distribution of nucleus pig genetics in East Africa. I've been involved in the pig value chain for quite some time now, and I also have very good experience with the new science products. and interacting with quite a number of farmers who are using the products in the whole of this East African region. So going back a bit, you need a BabiStar. And if you're here and you've not been using it, I think this is the right time to start. You're not only helping your piglets, but you will also be helping your sows. Today we are going to talk about efficiency and early weaning is also another way you can make your farm production more efficient. Because if you wean your piglets early enough, you have your sow going back on heat earlier. So you receive more followings in a year. If you're weaning your piglets, weaning off your sows after 60 days, 50 days like I've had, it means that you're losing money. Unfortunately, we are not going to get time to do some calculations, but there is a lot of time that you're wasting. And this time you're wasting makes your sow inefficient. So it consumes more food, but gives you less piglets in a year. And your target should be getting as many piglets as possible from your sow, most especially at this time when the cost of feed is challenging. The prices fluctuate a lot. It's been a very difficult time back home with the cost of maize and maize bran. Today the price is going down, but it has been very expensive. Now, if that sow consumes all that food and then you get only 1 pallet a year, it's a huge loss. So these are stuff that we have to think about. Now, we have quite a number of parameters to look at whenever we think about optimization of farm efficiency, but I selected a few that we are going to concentrate on today. On the reproductive herd, I selected the age and weight at insemination. I believe we all agree that today is different. The pig production is different because we have access to quality genetics, not only from nucleus that I represent, but also there are other genetic companies that are sending pigs here. I know you get pigs, someone has just told me you get pigs from Dunbred, you get pigs from PIC, you get pigs from Top Pigs, you get pigs from Choice Genetics. So there are a number of genetic companies that are sending genetics in East Africa. So the age and weight at first insemination becomes very important, but this differs from company to company. With the nucleus gilts, the first insemination is recommended at 150 to 160 kilograms. Some companies will tell you 130 kilograms. Each genetic company has a reason why it gives a cutoff of weight at first insemination. The nucleus sow will consume quite more food for you to achieve the 150, 160 kilograms, and it will take you quite some time, minimum 250 days, but it will cause your sow to produce for a longer time. So it pays off in longevity, okay? So when we are inseminating, doing the first insemination, we so much have to refer to what the genetic company recommends. So you don't say, let me inseminate earlier so that I save on food. You may not be saving, because at the end of the day, you might have weaker piglets and therefore higher rates of mortality. Or you may have a sow that will not give you more liters in its lifetime. So, efficiency requires you to follow the guidelines from the source of your genetics. Doing it right means that you save money, even though the cost initially might look to be higher. The farm following index. You know, we inseminate sows. I don't know what you use commonly, natural or artificial insemination. But out of the X number of sows that you've inseminated, how many of those farrow? It's a very important question, because each missed insemination or each repeat means that you have more time to take feeding this gilt sow until it comes back in heat again. You understand what I'm talking about? So all that is money wasted. Okay? Talk about the litter size. Genetics of today gives an average of 15 piglets. And if you're still clinging on traditional unknown genetics, still you're losing out. Because the same amount of food given to a pig that has littered 5 piglets is almost the same amount of food that is consumed by a pig that will win 15 piglets. You understand what I'm talking about? So all that will lead you to loss of money. Yes, you might access undefined genetics at a cheaper price. True. But the return of this animal is actually detrimental to the profitability of your enterprise. So it is better to use proper genetics. The litter size. There are two issues to look at about this. A large litter, like Joe said, large litters comes with challenges of low birth weights. Okay? So when you're choosing a parent line to use at your farm, you need also to look at those parameters, because each genetic company will tell you the average expectation in terms of litter size. If you're not prepared enough, don't go for a highly polylyphic sow, because a highly polylyphic sow demands a lot. You need fostering. You need to be sure that you have the necessary conditions in place to be able to win majority of these piglets produced. Otherwise, it might litter 20, 25, but you end up winning 5. Still, that is not business. Okay? Yeah, but also small litter sizes are a no-go zone in today's production systems. Now, from the litter size to the number of piglets weaned. Like I said, the number of piglets weaned, in fact, today is more important than the litter size. So even though the pig produces a lot of piglets, if it is poor at milking, if it is a bad mother in general, then the large litter is not helpful. Okay, that's on the reproductive herd side. Now let's talk about the commercial herd. The reproductive herd is the production engine of the farm. It is the one that produces the next generation of piglets. And then the commercial herd is the other side of the farm that is going to the market. Okay? You've produced piglets, and these piglets are intended for pork production. And the big question here is the time to market. Today, we have animals that produce 100 kilograms at 125 days, thanks to the improvements in genetics. But commonly, it's around 180, 160 days for a finisher to go to the market. The amount of feed consumed from around 30 kilograms to when you take this pig to the market is very important. And this also brings back to people who think that they are saving, but yet wasting resources. If you're feeding a pig of poor genetics, its feed conversion ratio and the average daily gain are very poor. Therefore, you need more food and you need more time. More time means that they'll occupy space for much longer. You're going to spend on water, spend on labor, spend on a lot of stuff. And therefore, at the end of the day, you may not return the money invested. And I came to find out that this is one of the main reasons why people keep on exiting pig farming. Because at some point, you try and people frankly tell you, I have tried and I have now realized there is no money in pigs. Sometimes they are right. They have tried wrong genetics, fed with wrong feeds, and then got exactly what they had to get. And it's right. There will be no money in pig farming if it is done that way. Therefore, if you have access to quality feed, you also need to access quality genetics. After accessing those, you also need to think about the right use. There is no single food for all categories of pigs on the farm. Yes, it might be a nice feed, a good one, but for a particular category or reproductive stage, but not all stages on farm. And also the genetics. I'm seeing people selecting replacement gilts from the commercial herd. You know, there is a percentage decline in maternal performance, okay? So that you cannot get the same results from a pig intended for slaughter like you get from a parent line that is intended for reproduction. So if you're doing pig farming on a commercial scale, it's also very important that you select the right genetics. If you use the wrong genetics, it's like using sow and winner for the whole categories of pigs on farm. So you need to select a particular line that is designed to perform that particular activity on your farm. The price of feed versus nutritive value. We have people who collect kitchen refuse. People who are like, these concentrates are very expensive. So let me try to feed concentrate together with some grass. So at the end of the day, even the money invested to buy the concentrate is eaten up. I don't know whether you understand what I'm saying. So you rather concentrate on the right way of doing things for you to earn from your enterprise. Sometimes price is not the issue, but efficient use, and also spending on the right product to give to your animals. The weight at finishing. Live weight at finishing highly determine the amount of carcass, the weight of the carcass that you're going to get from the animal, and remember, it is the meat that is paid for. And when we are buying pigs, there are some grades. I don't know whether it is done the same way this side, but lighter pigs, what we call the underweight pigs, are bought usually at the same price as cows. Cows are the worn-out sows, the worn-out boars. So the underweight falls under the same category. And sometimes these underweight pigs are part of a group, if they are 50, of maybe 10 or 20 that are heavy enough. So they have consumed almost the same amount of food. They have spent almost the same amount of time on farm, and then you're getting less money as compared to those that are heavy enough. So there are a lot of issues to look at to achieve the uniformity, so that when you go to the market, the variation in terms of return from a group of animals, a batch of animals that you're selling is not that much. If it is much still, you are not efficient. You are losing money. So what do we have to look at? Like I've been emphasizing, you have to look at genetics. What exactly are you using? Are you using the right animal for the right purpose? Commonly, we use an hybrid of landless and large weight to produce parent lines. So a parent line is 50% landless and 50% large weight. We say that makes the best mother. And I can confirm that makes the best mother. So you need a good parent line. Here in Africa, farmers can claim whatever they want to claim. So you have to be very careful. You will go to someone's farm and they tell you, here are my large-wise and there are my landless, and so what I've produced is a parent line. You have to be extremely very careful. Because again, you can buy a wrong line because a certain farmer convinced you. So you need to be sure what you're buying is right. So after getting a good parent line, the parent line is majorly for producing your market pigs. It is not for fattening to slaughter, it is for producing the pigs that you're going to grow for the market. Okay? After getting a good parent line, you have to think about a commercial boar. It is the commercial boar that brings out the commercial traits, what the market requires, and what you also need to save money during the production process. What does the commercial boar bring on table? It brings the good feed conversion ratio. So you're going to use less feed for more gain. Okay? It brings more weight gain. You need less time to grow the animal to the market. It brings more meat, less fat. You understand what I'm talking about? And it is also going to save you time. Instead of taking 28 weeks raising a pig for slaughter, you're going to raise it for 20, 22 weeks. Or 24 and take it to the market. It is the commercial boar that brings in that advantage, not the parent sow. Many people don't understand that. So accessing a good parent sow is not the end of the story. It is the beginning of the story. You need a good commercial boar. There is a lot of misconceptions that probably, if still here, we should clear. Each genetic company brands, some don't, but majority brands these parent lines. Parent lines, I mean the cross between the landless and the large white. For example, PIC calls it the Cambra. Some people think that Cambra is a certain sort of breed that has good meat and grows faster. Cambra is a parent line. Choice Genetics calls it the CG36. Again, some people think this is a nice animal that grows faster, has less fat, and that's not what you should look out for in a CG36. That is a parent line. Top Pigs calls it now the TN70. Who else? Nucleus calls it the Selenis. But they are nothing more or less than crosses between a landless and a large white. So we have a number of commercial boas. We have the synthetic boas. Choice has the P90, Nucleus has the Vigor, PIC has the quite a number of lines, Top Pigs has, there are very many. We have the Juloc, we have the Pietrain. You understand what I'm talking about? So those breed lines offer different advantage to the farm, and you need to use them in combination for you to get the best out of your business. So look at nutrition. After getting a very good line, you have to think about nutrition, because having a good line having a good line only is not enough. For me, I usually refer to the genetics as, and I compare genetics to a car, okay? So you have a very good engine. You know, I don't know whether it is the same story elsewhere, but in in Africa, we have different suppliers of fuel. And I think you might agree with me, some fuel is not that good. Huh? Probably they mix it with other stuff, I don't know. So you have a good engine, but give it bad fuel. What do you expect? You cannot blame the engine. Huh? You understand? Or you have a good engine, give it good fuel, but then you don't know how to operate it. You can't blame the engine. Or you cannot now blame the fuel. It is you who has the problem. Okay? So you need quality nutrition. And this nutrition must be administered in the right way. Each category of animal should receive what it must receive for you to get the best out of the genetics. Remember, nutrition is the largest cost under production. So if you don't use it rightly, if you don't get the right one, or if you get the right one and you don't use it rightly, still, even though you have quite genetics, you're going to have issues. Management. You need to know how to handle the different aspects of production. Talk about vaccination. You may feed your sow properly, like Joe advised, but then porcine circovirus, it's up their reproductive efficiency. You get mummified piglets, you get fewer piglets, and all the sort. So you need to vaccinate when is recommended. It's very important, most especially if you're dealing with many sows, because even a slight decrease in performance, if you're dealing with very many sows, translates into a huge loss. But even those who have fewer sows, do you want any loss at your farm? So it is better you do things right. Make sure that the piglets receive the conducive environment, use proper troughs for crib feeding. Joe talked about making a porridge out of crib to feed the piglets. And back in Uganda, I've seen farmers who think that maybe pigs should eat dirty. So they make the porridge, they don't clean the trough. In the same trough, because they told them to feed it fresh, so they follow the procedure. But then they are putting the fresh crib feed in a dirty trough that is smelling bad. It's something simple, but will affect the intake of the feed. And maybe might introduce mycotoxins into your animals, and then performance is negatively affected. So health and environment, treating disease when you have to, feeding right, vaccination, and making sure that the temperatures and humidity in the pig houses are right. Then finally, you think about the market. It's very important to understand what your market requires. In Africa, we have limited use for fat, for example. If you produced a fatty animal, you're going to lose money. It doesn't matter, you're going to lose money. So you need leaner meat. You need to also understand the weights that the market demands. The cutoff weights. Okay? So all this improves the return on investment. Okay. So I'll change the presentation a bit and come to nucleus. And majorly, I want us to look at these breed lines. First of all, I want to inform you that Nucleus is a company owned by Coupal. Coupal is also a cooperative in France. And the company is also a pork producer. Okay? So properly understands the ins and outs of pork production. So we have these four main breed lines: the large white, the landless, the Piatrain, and the Duloc. But also there is a composite boar, a synthetic boar called Vigor. All these lines are available even here in Kenya. So what we did, we brought in GGPs. And these GGPs are going to produce GPs, and the GPs will produce the parent lines. And we want to also make access to the parent lines, the F1, more easier to a farmer and more affordable. I believe if you want to access an F1 today, you have to go to South Africa, and majority of you come to Uganda. So the cost of transportation and also the cost of an F1 is still very, very high. So we want to make access to F1 and both semen more easier and more affordable. Okay? So this is what I've been talking about. On the side of the reproductive herd, you're looking for polyefficacy. You're looking at weight at birth. Nucleus is now around 1.4, 1.5 kilograms. The milking ability of the sow. The feed contributes, but also genetics must be the right one to make the best out of the feed. Okay? And the number of functional teats. So we have about, we have 16, an average of 16 functional teats on the F1 gilts. So the feed conversion ratio on the production side and the average daily gain are also very important. Then in the market, you look at the reduction of the drip losses. You know, drip affects not only the quality, but also the final weight after processing, the amount of meat that you're taking to the market. And also the pH. The pH is also very important with the color and the maintenance of the reduction in drip loss. So as you can see here, there are a lot of factors looked at in the breeding of these maternal lines. The grandparent landless and the grandparent large weight. And each is given a proportion. But if you look at these charts properly, you can see that the FCR is given quite serious attention, and the number of piglets born alive. So even though the FCL is given attention, if you're using a poor feed, the animal won't be able to produce to its potential. So the feed must be right. And even though the number born alive is given serious attention, still if your management is poor, you might not get these good results. And so both of these lines combine the good maternal characteristics to form one animal. And we call that animal in nucleus the Selenis. So this is how they perform, the average performance. In terms of piglets born alive, you have the large white at 16.5, the landless at 16.7, and then the number of piglets weaned, you have the large white at 13.1 and the landless at 13.3. The total average of pigs weaned per sow per year, 32 for large white and 33.8 for landless. So when this is combined together, you get a more better animal to use as your parent animal on farm. So you can see the average weight of the litter. Large white has 1.45 and landless has 1.34. The average birth weight. Okay? And finally, I want us to look at one of the boas, and this is a Piatrain. You can see that its weight at 125 days is 100 kilograms. You need about 2 kilograms of feed to produce 1 kilogram of live body weight. And it has average daily gain of over 1,000 grams per day. Okay? So I'll take you back to so we imported these animals last month, and these are GGPs. So you remember they had to take time to get used to the feed, to the environment, and what have you. But again, the first weighing gave us an average daily gain of 0.8. So we think this is not bad, given that the animals are experiencing the environment for the first time. Okay? So I'll place two small videos. This one will stop in the middle.
Since its foundation in 1966, the group Copel has mastered the technology to optimize traceability at all production stages. Genetics, technical support, animal health and hygiene, feeding, building design and equipment, environment, slaughter of pigs and meat processing. Thanks to our deep knowledge of the industry and vast experience in this field, more than 13 million consumers throughout the world trust the quality and safety of our products. In the field of genetics, the Nucleus Copel company is the leader of the French market in reproductive pig breeding and in the volume of semen doses sold every year.
With a
And then I'll play this. We have imported the GGPs. We are going to receive frozen GGP semen. You know, I think it's going to be the first time frozen semen is used here in East Africa. So the frozen GGP semen will be used to produce the grandparent animals. So the idea here is to see how you can also be involved in making parent lines accessible to your neighbor or the farmer, whatever, so that we can all benefit from the presence of quality feed. Okay? So in Uganda, in East Africa, we have 3 central breeding farms. We have Jole Pig Farm in Uganda. It is stocked with GGP large white. And we have Ogao Farms here in Kenya, in Siaya. This one will concentrate on production of commercial boas. So it has all the female lines for the commercial boas from nucleus. It already has them. We also have Lake Zone in Tanzania, and that one is under Genomics. So what is going to happen is that these farms will be supplying landless semen to the people who will be having the GP large white sows, so that they are able to produce parent lines. So we call all this the micro-breeding framework. It is highly supervised and not a business for everybody, but in case you can manage, you can as well become part of the solution, because these animals are going to be locally available and accessible. So this is what will happen. Farmers interested can produce the parent lines, the selenes, and farmers interested can set up both studs. Someone was asking about semen access in this house. So, how do we make semen more accessible to this big country? There are a lot of issues associated with semen storage and semen transportation. Semen can only be stored at temperatures of between 16 and 18 degrees Celsius. So you need a specialized freezer. If you're going to move it for longer distances, still you need movable freezers that can maintain the temperatures in that range. So it is not something that everybody can do. Setting up a bostard is also demanding. You need to invest in the boas, you need to invest in equipment, you need a laboratory, because you don't harvest semen and pack it and just take to the farmer. If you did that, then the performance might turn out to be poor. And then the farmer would have not gotten what they were paying for. So semen has to first go to the laboratory before it is cleared for use at the farm. You need equipment, you need laboratory equipment. You need to invest in technical know-how. You need to have someone who can do the processing of this semen. Okay? And you also need training how to fool the boa to give you the semen. It's also very important. Then how you go about the processing and use of the semen. So for farmers who may intend to produce the selenes, the parent lines, I think the journey is a little bit simpler. Because we are looking at farms of a minimum of 50 sows. So we think a farm of that caliber can adequately invest in biosecurity and proper nutrition. You also need to do some investments in the pig breeding software. You have to collect data almost at every stage. We are also using customized tags. So we are mimicking the identification and traceability system in France. So these tags will also be accessible from the central breeding farms, and they are unique. Why are we doing this? To avoid, should I call it a counterfeit? Because very soon you will see people starting to produce Selenis everywhere. So how do you confirm that I'm buying the right one? We need to refer to the records in the system. So the customized tagging system is not enough because it can be forged, even though in one way or the other can be traced. But this is also supported by the RFID tag. An RFID tag is a small tag with a chip inside. So it is readable by a machine. So the tag will be having information about that particular animal. And if somebody claimed to have sold Selenis or a large white, we can easily confirm that it is the right one or not the right one. So all this is a cost on the breeder. You need to have capacity to invest in that. If you're using RFID tags, of course, you need the RFID reading machine. So all that is investment. So we're also looking at farms with strict biosecurity, proper farm structures. We prefer the use of already mixed feed. I'll tell you the reason why. I was about to share something, but I withheld because the owner delayed to allow me to use the data. There are some farms that have quality genetics, but do have issues, most especially with the uniform mixing of the feed ingredients. I don't know whether you understand what I mean. You can buy right material, the raw material, and also use these good concentrates, but then fail at proper mixing to achieve a uniform mixture. And then some portions of the feed may not have the same quantity of nutrients like other portions. And then you keep feeding these to pigs. Today, this one gets one that is rightly mixed. The other day gets the one that is poorly, the portion that is poorly mixed. And then you have serious variations in weights. You know, weight variation is also a profit thief because animals won't be of the same average weight. The variation will be too big when you're going to the market. So when you're using already mixed feed, there is chance that it was properly mixed. You have to confirm that. And then these animals are able to receive the right quantities of nutrients that they are supposed to receive. How does that help the breeding farm? More sows will be selected for the market. I don't know whether you understand what I'm saying. It doesn't make sense for your sow to litter 15 piglets. You have 10 females, and then only 5 are selected for the market. It would be good if majority of the 10 actually meet the quality standards and therefore selected for the market, because it is only those animals that are selected for sale or for use internally that will be sold. I don't know whether you understand. It is a quality control measure. And to also guarantee people who are going to use the Selenis parent line that what they are taking is actually good quality. You'll also need to enter into agreements. If you're going to multiply for sale, you need an F1 multiplication agreement. So under that, you will be directly governed by the standards. So you produce according to the set standards. And you also sell according to the set standards. It's not that after owning the GP animals and then you're able to produce the F1s, then you will just enter the market and start selling. It won't work like that. You have to sell according to the set commercialization system. Okay? There are also people who are doing internal production of replacement gilts. It's a common behavior here in Africa due to the limited access to quality genetics. People tend to use the sows forever. So they start when their production rate is very good, and then the production rate starts declining. But because the cost of accessing sows is very high, most especially with transportation, they tend to remain with that sow until forever. Okay? So these people are also going to be assisted. You can access the GP and have them internally. Then produce your replacement gilts slowly. Instead of buying from outside, you produce them on farm. For the bull semen distribution, also you need an agreement because you have to agree to the quality standards. And then the bull studs, like I said, you need technical staff. You need at least 3 bull lines. I don't know why I put 4. Train, Gillock, and Vigor, to allow people choose whatever they want to use. Okay? And each bull line offers unique advantages. And you have to invest in equipment. Okay? Except if there is questions. I wanted to leave over 30 minutes, but it is even more. My talking will stop there. Except if there is questions. Yes, sir.
Yes, good afternoon. Thank you for the wonderful presentation. Mine is just a little clarification concerning the semen transportation temperatures. Was it 16 degrees or negative 16?
No, 16 degrees Celsius. Between 16 and 18 is okay. Yeah.
Then, if it's 16, you meant, I mean, that's why the confusion came from, because you said 16 and then there was the need to use a freezer.
Yeah, the freezer should be able to maintain the temperatures within that range. It is not good. You know, to keep the viability, you have to transport the semen the right way. Okay, otherwise quality will deteriorate during transportation. So it doesn't matter whether it's 2 kilometers or 1 kilometer, it should be transported the right way for purposes of maintaining the quality.
Hello. After all of this work, at the end, we want to know the market. On your side, do you have the market for the pigs? Because we have done all we can. We can do the management, nutrition, genetics, but no, the market, so that the farmer can get at least a profit.
So the market of what exactly? Of pork, of
The market of the pigs. You're talking about the pigs.
Yes.
Yeah, the
But
market.
because you have different products, according to our discussion, you have different products that are going to the market.
Yeah, the market.
You have the porkers, the finishers, you have the parent lines, you have the semen. Oh, those are products. It's not only pork only.
The pig.
The market for pork.
Yeah, for pork.
Okay. Yeah, I've not reviewed properly the marketing structure in Kenya. What I know is that we are better than you. At least that one I'm very sure. We are better than you. But I know Farmers Choice buys pigs and some other people. Sometimes people from here come to Uganda to buy pigs. So I keep wondering why you're not finding market. People come to Uganda with the trucks to buy pigs. I've met several and I've assisted several. So I'm wondering why they are not buying here and prefer to come to Uganda. And yet the cost per kilogram farm gate is higher back there than it is here, according to the information I got yesterday. So it puzzles me. I don't know. The farm gate price in Uganda is higher than it is here. It is cheaper here.
For breeding animals?
For pork, for finishers. Yeah? And still, some Kenyan traders come to Uganda to buy pigs. So it puzzles me. I don't know. Maybe it is quality. I don't know. I don't understand. Yeah.
Now, my name is Benson. I have one question concerning, you talked about frozen semen. Frozen semen. Now, have you made steps to put some initiatives to make sure it gets to farmers, or it's just meant for the company level? And then you've talked about a farm at Siaya. You do not have any other stations where maybe someone who is around Nairobi, Murang'a, can be able to get information, come and see?
I think that's what exactly is the reason why I made some of the slides here. You can be that farmer if you want to. Yeah, so on the side of frozen semen, you should leave it to the technical breeder because it needs reprocessing before use, okay? And it is only used, we are only using it for GGP semen. For the GP semen, you will get it fresh, okay? It will be available fresh, but for the GGP semen, it will come in frozen. But it is only for the central breeding farms. You don't need nothing to do about it. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Currently, people are able to get boas for breeding, just like you said, the Duroc, the the P something you mentioned. Now, what we would like to know is, with your company, Nucleus, if, for example, I wanted to get a peer train for the boa for breeding, not for that, but in other words, what I'm saying is that whatever I get, whatever it sires, is going to be for the market. Will I be able to get?
See, okay. I'm not going to give you a straight answer. I'm sorry. First of all, it is not cost effective for you to import in a boa. It is very expensive. And you're going to use it on most probably a few sows. So the best strategy, because the semen that you receive is actually from that same boa. So leave the work to the boa stud. You can keep a teaser boa on farm. It's very okay. To assist you during insemination. You know, heat detection sometimes becomes complicated. But when you have a boa on farm, for teasing, not for use in reproduction, heat detection becomes easier. Also synchronization. You know synchronization? You want a certain group of animals to come on heat in same period of time. So instead of using the very expensive hormones, you can use a boa to, most especially when you're dealing with gilts, to synchronize these gilts so that you have a given batch coming on heat at the same time, then you order for semen at once, do the insemination in the related time frame. Maybe you understand what I'm saying. So on the side of the boa, we do not want to go into that. Bring a boa, it's very expensive. That's the truth. It's very expensive. So it is the boa stud that can make best use of it. And therefore you get semen cheaply. A dose of peer train in Uganda goes for 30,000. If you're going to import a boa, it will cost you close to $2,500.
30,000 dollars, like 1,000 bucks.
Yeah. So why do you import the other very expensive, yet you can access semen? So what we have to do is to make the semen accessible. So how do we make the semen accessible? Nucleus allowed us to produce the commercial boas locally. And good enough, they are produced here in Kenya. So if you have potential to set up a boa stud in a certain region, then you should show interest. We work together, you do the training, we tell you what you need, we visit the site, we help you do the setup, and also we help you penetrate the market so that you can help your fellow farmers. Then from time to time, you can keep picking replacement boas from CIR. I don't know whether I've answered you properly. So it would be good for you to have the commercial boa, but I don't recommend that you buy one. It's just expensive for no reason. Yes.
I am Esther. You have talked about proper mixing of feed. Can you kindly, with all due respect, help us with the formulation of that proper mixing?
I think on the formulations, you already have them on the table. My concern was mixing to achieve a uniform, consistency. Many farmers have challenges, and I can tell you frankly, if you're using a spade, you should be mixing for very few animals. If you're mixing for very many animals, it's very hard for you to achieve a uniform mixture. It's very hard. So, in such a situation, using an already mixed feed is better. Or paying money to someone who has a proper mixer to do the mixing for you is better. Otherwise, you might not get the best out of the feed that you're paying for and out of the good genetics that you're buying. So many farmers make, I was going to show you, so there is a huge variation. He's using very good genetics, but you find the variation abnormal. And I'm very sure that he is also using very quality feed. What causes the variation? Is it poor management? I think that is also out. Then the mixing of the feed is the problem. The feed is not uniformly mixed. The nutrients are not uniformly distributed. And that is the cause of the variation in the average daily gains. So sometimes this pig receives properly mixed feed. Tomorrow, it receives one that is not properly mixed. So the growth is also starts to vary. And that also becomes a profit thief. Yes, please.
In this part of the world where we are, and not Uganda, we find people here take time to understand why they ought to pay substantial amount of money for a pure breed animal. That boar will cost over $2,000. And can you please elaborate, speak to some of my colleagues? I remember when we were importing those boars, I was importing, the boar was going, when you interpret the money, it's like 320,000 Kenya shillings. I find people think, oh, this animal is very expensive. Please, can you explain the importance of why the genetics has to cost?
Yeah, efficiency. The answer is efficiency. And to tell you the truth, some of the stories I'm hearing here, we've had them back home. And we have outgrown them. For example, the use of sow and winner. I don't know, so we invented, but it was once there. But today, no. Yes, so these animals, yes, are expensive, but they are people. You know, growth can't be forced to happen rapidly. It's behavior change. And trust me, it is going to take time. People will keep on changing gradually. These concentrates, when they are just alive, nobody wanted to use them. Yes, but today people are understanding the advantage of using the concentrates. So we are shifting. Trust me, there is growth, and we are shifting, and at a very good pace. What will happen in the future, not many years from now, is that if you're using poor feeds and poor genetics, you have no place in the market completely. And that's how markets behave. You have no place in the market. So either you change to proper inputs, or you exit the business. It's also part of the growth. There is nothing to do. Huh? Yes, it's part of the growth. Huh?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
The remnants. Those who remain in the business.
Yeah, because you're losing money, so it's better to keep your money than to lose it. Yes, so in future, there is a lot that is going to happen. And trust me, people will go for quality inputs gradually, slowly by slowly. So questions over? Yeah, okay, let's maybe take these two and I don't know whether we're on the right side of time. Huh? We are okay? Okay.
Okay, mine is not a question. It's just I'd like to add on that point for mixing feeds. You'd rather, actually there are many raw material stores all around Kenya that charge one bob per kilo for mixing. So if you are making a ton, you pay 1,000. So you better go that way for paying those guys at the mixing stores rather than mixing with spades. Because the uniformity achieved you won't achieve uniformity when you mix with spades. And if you are using amino acids like lysine, methionine, they tend to be blown by the wind when you are using spades. Yeah.
Thank you. This lady here.
Oh, hi. I think mine is a question and a point. So as I said, my name is Rose. I'm from Livestock Dynasty. You had asked about the market, and I know he's encouraging us to buy from his products so you can have pigs to sell. So we are a farm, and we have our own slaughterhouse. So if you're interested, if any farmer here has more pigs, we buy pigs. You'll just give me your number, then we can arrange. The same way unapeleka Farmer's Choice, we do the same procedure. I'll visit your farm. If you're viable to bring your products to us, we are willing to purchase at a good price. So that's one. Another question, you said something about regulations. I'll purchase a boa from you the same way he has spoken. Importing a boa is quite expensive, and we've done that. But the challenge I got, when you buy, you export, you bring a boa, then they have regulations like you can't resell boas without their consultation. I don't get how I will spend 300,000 to bring a boa, then you want to tell me what to do with it. So that's...
Truth is, the game of genetics is complicated. Even though you buy this animal, it is still a property of the genetic company. So you're not allowed to do the reselling according to your wish. This is why we are slowly with selling boas, mostly boas. We are very slowly. And even today, we are also very slowly with selling GPs to any farmer. Very slowly. Because when they go into the market, put inferior products, you ask them to stop, they're like, I paid you. So why are you stopping me? Every generic company has to keep a particular standard of products that go to the market. Because each product that goes to the market defines that genetic company. If it is inferior, the genetic company will be beaten, and they invest a lot of money in research. So that's why you don't just play with their products. Some of them sue people. I saw a company in Uganda that was dragged very seriously by one genetic company in South Africa. So it's not a joke. Huh? You have to take their genetics very, very serious because it defines them. If it is poor, then they say this company sells poor. So that's why you're not going to be allowed to sell the semen. Yeah. Even though you got it expensively. Yes, this madam.
Good afternoon. My name's Esther. I want to ask, besides these feeds, is it advisable to feed something else to the pigs? Because I've seen people feeding banana leaves, misheveve and such. So is it advisable?
You see, with what I'm talking about now, it will be very difficult for me to answer the question because it's a no-go zone. So there is a standard of farmers maybe would do that. But what we are talking about here is serious business. It's against time, and it also has targets. You want the animal to leave your farm at 20 weeks, and you want it to leave the farm at a certain weight. So you want to know how much it is gaining every day, then translate it into how much it needs to consume every day. Now, what is in banana leaves? You don't know.
And the last one now?
Yes.
So at what point do you say this sow has furrowed enough. Now I need to sell it.
You see, given the fact that today, I think the future will be better, but today access to quality parent lines is still complicated. It involves a lot of cost on transport, and also where they are bought, they are still very expensive. So today, I would advise that you don't cull a sow basing on literature, okay? Cull a sow basing on performance. If the performance affects the profitability, push it away. Because what you're looking for is profit. If the performance is still at a mark that profitability is not disturbed, continue. I've seen sows that go to 7 parities and they are still okay. But there are some that stop at 4. So the reason to cull today should be based on performance. But tomorrow, if things get okay, they should have a cut-off time so that you don't go even in minor losses. Because if you're going to discover that it cannot perform basing on its current following, it means you've already lost. I don't know whether you understand. But the cost of that loss today is small as compared to the cost of accessing a new gilt from elsewhere. Yeah, but later we'll have, I think in Europe it is 5 liters. After 5 liters, that's how it goes. Whether good or bad, it goes away. 5 liters. About 2.5 years. 2.5 it goes away. Let me pause a bit for another small session, then we continue. Ah, it's on my WhatsApp. Okay, I have to put it. She has the cable.
Is your email?
Yeah, you can log in. She has it there. Okay.
While still on this discussion concerning breeding and feed efficiency, I just wanted to take you through the profile of our company. So currently what we do, we are the main distributors for New Science. So we basically sell the concentrates for you to go make your own feed at home. Another alternative is that we offer you ready-made food also. For those who are not able to make the feed, you come to our shop, you find that we've mixed the feed using the concentrates. Some of you here are our customers already. So we have this brand here, there's a bag here, you've seen some behind there. So we have food for all the categories here. So, rudisha nyuma kidogo. Usi-automate. Yeah. Basically, yeah. Then how do we move manually? Yep. So we started selling concentrates during COVID 2020, and we've been there till today. So the supplier came and we started by importing, but because of efficiency in distribution, the company New Science came and set up here. So they bring the concentrates, they stock up, and we distribute. Yeah. So you have the slide, so I won't do much with it. Let me just go to our location. We are just behind here. So if you exit through the gate that you came in through, you turn left, and then on the junction you turn right, you go to Mirema Drive, you turn left again to the flyover at Northern Bypass. So as you after the flyover, as you go towards Marurui on the service lane, We are located at Thome First Avenue on the right, for those who've been there. So we have several products. So of course, we have the raw materials there. For those who don't have access to quality raw materials, you can come check at our place. We also have mixing services. Somebody has mentioned that if you use spades, you are not going to achieve a good mixture on the feed. So we can also help you with mixing. You can either come with the materials that you have, we sell you what you don't have, we make for you a complete feed. For those who don't have materials completely, you just come and pick the feed ready-made, and you don't have time. You're just passing by quickly, you come pick the feed ready-made. Alternatively, if you are getting a big order, you just call us. We need 2 tons of pig raw, and we make for you and package it nicely, and we send it to you. So these are the standard formulations for our concentrates. So basically, we have 2 types of concentrates. There's the pig 25% and the pig 5%. Pig 25%, normally we advise you to use it for weaners or sensitive stages like lactate. Reason being, the pig 25 comes with its own protein, right? And it is well balanced to ensure improved gut health for the young ones and also for mothers who are lactating. This one now you use more, like in 1 ton, you use 4 bags in 1 ton because it covers the position of soya, the protein source. Then, so these are the formulas. There's a starter feed. So initially we used to use this first column here. And this first column, Ignatius calls it turbo, simply because it accelerates the pig so much. However, most farmers here don't have the right breed to handle the protein that is there, because you find that it gives about 20% protein, which is most of the time too much for some of the piglets that we have here. So we are now using this. Yeah? This one that we call fattener is what we have ready at the shop. That's the formula we are using. It's cheaper than that, and it is suitable for the kind of breeds that we have here. Because remember, as we say, the breeds that we have are mixed up. Sometimes we don't know what we have. Even some people usually say, me, I have F1, and yet F1 is not a breed. Yeah, so then there's the lactator formula. This is also premium. For many people, if you desire a lot of milk from your sows, this one does very well. However, the one that we use at the shop, is this, which is a cheaper alternative compared to the other one. And it still works very well. So if you come and buy lactator meal, like the bag you saw there, this is the formula we will have used strictly. The only addition that we put here is a toxin binder. Just in case there's an issue in the maize germ or the maize, we usually add toxin binder. And for toxin binders, there's one bag that is there. We also sell toxin binders. We have high spec, the ultra, that covers a variety of mycotoxins. And then we have one called Vitafix Select that only covers aflatoxin, right? This is the formula we use for our pig growers, and it works very well. For those who have used our pig grower or have mixed their own feed using this formula, you can testify that it works very well. So this one is usually introduced. We'll see the table of, we'll go to the next slide and we'll see how to introduce the different stages of feed. We have the finishing formula based on the experience that we have nowadays. People rarely used the finishing formula. So finishing is supposed to be introduced at 21 weeks, all the way to 24 weeks. But you find people liking grower more than this because grower accelerates the pigs a lot. So some people say, no, we don't want even to go to finish. Some are selling their pigs at 5.5 months. Some are selling at 5 on the dot. If you have a good breed We've seen farmers sell at 5 on the dot. There are farmers who are even seated here today that have sold at 5.5. So by that time, they see no need to go to finish. We have the gestation formula. You've been told why gestation has less energy, but more of the fiber and what have you. Joe mentioned, talked about that. Then we have a feeding guide here. We adopted this this is more European standard. Even in South Africa, they more or less use this, right? Chris. So if you look at this is mainly for high breeds, as in breeds that are very good. Because you realize that here it is mentioning that you're supposed to be at 110 by 22 weeks, right? That means by 24 weeks, you should be doing over 120 kilograms live weight. So for good breeds, even for those people who are selling at 5 months, it means if they are to continue keeping their pigs, they can achieve this. Because there's a farmer, I saw his statement, he had sold at 5.5, some of the pigs were 88, some were 90. That means if you have good breed, actually, this is the guide, right? That means for most of us, you see, we are supposed to be selling at 20. You're having 95. And this is what, so I've used a live weight of 95. So this is the feed you're supposed to be consuming, water, daily gain, what you should be achieving weekly, at least a kilo by week 18. Daily gain, daily weights. Then the next slide now, so we try to break it down a bit so that we can see for the various stages, what should that pig consume. Somebody said, I feed my pigs ad libitum, which is true. For crepe, for starter, even grower, it is good to feed ad libitum so that the feed is always available for the piglet. Yeah, you don't limit them from eating because they are still growing. So we've talked about BabiStar. Week 1, 70 grams. And we say that week 1, it might struggle to eat it because it's in pellet forms. Ni kama Weetabix, cornflakes, your taste. It has a very good smell, so it attracts the pigs. But sometimes when they are young, they struggle to eat, so you might mix with warm water. Put small portions, a handful in the beginning. Then as they get used to eating, you keep adding more and more. Joe mentioned that it's important to keep cleaning the crepe dish. Don't leave it dirty so as to contaminate the feed. So you advise the worker to always check. If the feed is finished, add. Ensure the feed is finished, clean the dish nicely before adding. So you will feed that at least up to week 3 fully without mixing with anything. Then week 4, you realize that we are blending with starter. So week 4, we are starting starter, but we are still feeding what? Crepe. This is to ensure a smooth transition, right? To avoid the weaning stress that we usually see. So you blend it for 2 weeks with starter. Then by week 6, that piglet should be surviving alone without the mother and fully on starter. Then we use starter all the way up to week 12. There are farmers who love this formula, the formula I was showing you for fattener, and they don't want to stop. So they use it even up to 5 months, some farmers. But however, we recommend that you use it up to 12 weeks to manage your costs. Then we move on to pig grower, right? So these are the quantities you're supposed to be feeding weekly. So if you look at this, crepe, 1 piglet will have taken 2 kgs. For starter, 60 kilos at the end of 12 weeks. For grower, 103, 104 kgs. For those doing finisher, 77. Finisher is just 4 weeks to add the fat a bit. So we did a simulation here based on our current cost of feeds. and this is this bag here, the complete feed. So if you are fully eating complete feed, say you are not buying cheap materials elsewhere, maybe you planted maize, you have access to cheap materials, your cost can go down. But if you're buying feeds from us specifically, these are the costs. So we said 1 piglet, so this is the feed cost and expected returns. 1 piglet, 2 kgs of BabiStar. It costs 208. Your cost for 1 piglet, 416 shillings on creep feed. So you might see the bag, we sell it at 5,225 kg. Joe mentioned it's enough for 1 liter. So if you're having 15 piglets, it can serve. It can serve 16 if you manage it very well. So 1 piglet, 416 shillings. For starter, we saw 60 kgs at 65 shillings. Starter cost 3,900. Grower from 13 weeks all the way to 20, 103. Price 57, a cost of 5,871. Then finisher, by the time it comes to finisher, it's feeding a lot. So 77, 54 shillings for finisher, 4,158. So at the end of the day, so we've estimated 242. Based on various experiences, I think, Njuki, you spend how much? Some people take 230. Who can tell us how much they spend on 1 piglet in total? How many kgs? Based on your records? So we're estimating 242. That's the match you can go. Some have 230, some 220, some 200, some who sell at 5 months, 180 kgs. So if you're going all the way, 242 kilos, you will have spent 14,343. We are estimating that your live weight will be 95, assuming you're not doing good in terms of breed, right? So remember, here we were saying at 22 weeks, 110. But we are just saying, assuming you get 95 and you don't have a good breed. So your live weight, 95. Your carcass weight is 73 kilos. So your FCR is 2.5. Now, based on farmer's choice pricing, I hope this is correct, 340. Those who have just sold recently, 340. So it means, yeah? Yes, but just on average, 340. So it means you're making 24,820, which I know some people make 25,000, 25,500 on average per piglet in one batch of supply. So with this, you'll still have a margin of 10,000 when you remove the feed cost. So you have 10,000, and I usually say out of the 10,000, your salary is 5,000. 5,000 goes back to the farm. That's how I usually estimate. But if you're more efficient, your salary can go to 8,000. If you have good breeds, cheap feed, whatever you do, you can still increase your salary. So in a nutshell, that's it. The last page just has our pricing for the various products that we have, which you will have a look. So that was it. We just wanted to talk mainly about this because people usually ask the breakdown, what to consume weekly, and because the feed is not cheap as compared to what you get outside there in the market, so and winner and the likes. It's not cheap, but that is just the cost of buying in the onset. But in the long run, it is cheap because the pigs feed less, they don't eat much of this because it's energy packed, protein packed. So you find that it eats a little, sleep. Eats a little, sleep. You are selling it within 6 months, so you are not wasting food. And thus, at the end of the day, it's cheap. Yep. So that's basically what I wanted to talk about. Chris, you can come back and continue a bit as we wait for lunch. If you have any questions, anyone with a question? or even testimonials. Is there anyone with testimonials on real experiences and you're willing to share with us? Is anyone free to talk about their experience on feeding, BabiStar, starter, all the way? Yes. Oh, come. Ben is here. So Ben is more like a first-time farmer. The dad used to farm pigs. During COVID, he was my customer. Then the dad stopped. And then the son grew up he went back now to start farming pigs. He has some good experience that he witnessed recently. He can tell us.
Afternoon. Yeah, I'm not very experienced like most of you, because I know you've been been farming for quite some time. I came to know Kirui by virtue of my dad. I accompanied him one day. He was passing through Marurui, and he used to do a lot of research about concentrates. Just mzee wa kijiji, lakini he loved information. So that's when he got where Kirui station. At that time, they had a small shop up there. And yeah, I also love farming because I used to see the pig rearing at home, which also, used to pay our fee kidogo. Now, when they met with Kirui, he complained a lot about the cost. The feed are very expensive. But I remember Kirui convincing him to just try and see. And he tried. And at that time, we did not have a very big number, around 20. And they were very exceptional. Even when we took them at Farmer's Choice, they started inquiring, okay, what are you giving your pigs? Because you could see the difference. They were shiny, very huge, and they attained weight at that time, I think 6 months. Initially, he used to use the sow and weaner. Sow and weaner, I think this kakiwa kadogo until mwisho. But you are in 7 months and a half, kitu bado haisongi, kopale, but you have hope you'll sell and get something at the end of the day to wipe your sweats. But the experience with the Kirui's feeds was very good. But due to challenges here and there, my dad could not continue with the farming. He maintained, I think, 2 guilds because he had gotten a gene from Farmer's Choice. At that time, they were selling. So later, when I was done in school, you get a job here. That is when now I decided to go back to pig rearing. And the first person I looked for is Kirui, because I saw if you do it in the proper way, then there is outcome and you can get something. So I continued with the 2 guilds that he had. Nikaserve hizo, nikakuja kwa Kirui. The farm is at Kijabi, along Naivasha Nakuru Highway. It's like a small farm because it was a pilot project which I was trying to see whether it can work. Now, we organized with him so that the feeds can come to my place. And I served those 2 guilds and I added another 2. So I had 4 at that time. Because it was the first time I never got so many piglets. I think I got a total of 32, around 32. And I followed now but at different stages, because the first one was around 14, then I have the other one, I think 18 in combination of the 2. Then I started with the crib feed, the way that they have explained to you. He also sent the feeding program. And we followed. I even bought the digital scale, the small one, because I wanted to be very accurate and also not to waste, because you don't have a lot of money, you don't want your feet to be messed up there. Luckily, my dad now, he's at home, and he told me I will also take part in management and monitoring what is being done. And those now for commercial, the first 14, I was able to sell, I think 2 weeks ago, on 18th of August, it's in 3 weeks, 18th of August. And I managed to sell them within 5 months, 11 days. And I had, I think 3 which were above 90 dead weight, several with 80. So my average weight was, I think 83 or 88, 88, yes, within that period. So the other group, I think it's pigs tunaziita nini kwa group? Is it a team? It's a team. Yes, you can also say a team of pigs. I remember I was not able to get the crib feed. I came to Kirui and he told me they were over, you remember? So they did not follow the same process the other ones followed. So I had to look for crib feed at Unga, because I had to source it. I saw the impact that it had. Now I looked for crib feed from Unga. And they really frustrated me. You can even note now the difference between the other lot which went through the entire process, and now the other one which I used, Unga. Sorry to say, I don't know whether we have started from Unga, but it really failed me. But I can see going forward, I had to use some maybe Katasaw to boost the conversion, or to see whether they can maintain the same level as the other ones. Maybe I'll be selling these other ones, I think in the next 2 weeks. They might reach now maybe 5 months to 20 days because of where I missed with the crib feed. But when Kirui called me and told me, you know, I sent the ka invoice from Farmer's Choice to him. And he really pleaded with me to come and just maybe show farmers it's working. I think I have it. It's only that I was even willing for people to even see, you know? So if there's a way you can see ile kitu unaweza ficha ni tu hiyo pesa kidogo ni your security. Yes. Yes. Definitely, I think it's a general principle that if you dispose pigs within a very short time, definitely it will cover up, it will be profitable in a way. First, because of space, you'll be able to have a faster cycle of pigs in your space. Because you can imagine if you buy sow and winner, and you feed your pigs and for them to attain a weight of 80, to be honest, itakuwa miezi 8, 9. In fact, I talked with a farmer and some of them, I don't want to, they were telling me there are people who are even going for 1 year. So you can imagine someone who is selling pigs at 12 months and another one selling at 5 months. Even if the difference with the feeds is 1,200, can they be in the same page, really? It's not possible. So I think the short period counts a lot. And also, as long as you are able to make 10,000 from, and I can tell you this is very possible. It is happening. I think it's only that we cannot be able to show you that, but I have it. You can look at it and see it's very motivational, and gives it. So I decided now. I think now I'll do it more. That's all. Thank you. Yes, I used the ready one because I have no idea even where to, at that time I had no even idea where to source the materials. So I fully relied on Kirui, on the final mixed product. But definitely, I hope going forward, because I'm becoming a good ambassador, he'll consider to show me where I can access those raw materials at a cheaper price, because at the end of it, you have to try and cut the cost. Yes, so there are 14, at least you can see I had one which attained 88 kgs, one with, okay. I press the top one. So this is the, I had 14 in numbers, which I took there on 18th. The first one you can see attained 88 kgs. Had another one with 74, another one with 81, 93, 83, 74, 84, 57. I had two which did not perform, I don't know why. 57, 85, 57, 78, 71, 90, 78. So that's how they were. Sorry? Sina cash need. But now I think they were buying the unit price of 320. So it's a bit low. Now I think that's where now the farmers, I don't know how we'll find a solution of getting better market, because if we were to get better market, then I think we'll be in a very good position. Okay, that's all. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, truthfully, this translates to, this is the price per kg carcass in Uganda is almost the same live weight. Is almost this, because we buy a kilogram live at 8,000 Uganda shillings, and that is live weight, and this is around 8,800. And then sometimes you get bonuses for having heavy carcasses. Sorry, heavy animals. This is carcass, yes. That's why I said it is a little tough here than it is in Uganda. But also, I wanted to comment on his weights, the issue of uniformity. Because with the modern genetics, the average cut of carcass yield is 75 kilograms. A pig over 100 kilograms will lose about 25 kilograms. And then you have about 75. So that is what we calculate at. That's the average. Though sometimes you get 80, but this guy goes to 90. So also we have to look at another issue. When you're marketing, there is industrial slaughter and traditional slaughter. I don't know how it is done here, but traditional slaughter is also a no-go zone is like banana leaves to a commercial producer. It's a no-go zone to a commercial pig producer. Because in traditional slaughtering, I don't know how it is done here, the carcass is over-trimmed. I don't know whether it happens the same way. It is over-trimmed. So the killing out percentage reduces a lot. Yeah, sometimes even more. Yes. So you have to be careful. If you're using quality genetics, quality feeds, you have to take your animals to the right place. If you take them to a place where the trimming is unnecessary, then you're going to lose money and then either blame the feed or blame the genetics, yet it is the market that is doing it in a bad way. So the issue of uniformity is very important. Sometimes out of the 15, you have like 50% with the 50 kilograms carcass and then the rest at 70 kilograms. So you did a good job. I don't know which genetics. I can understand the feed, but it's a good job. Well done.
Good afternoon. I have a question to Dominic. I heard that you used to organize how the feeds will get to Kijabe. So do you deliver to customers or how did you used to?
Okay, so at the moment we don't have our own means of transport, but we usually have guys who do transport, and we usually connect them with the farmer. If they agree, it's delivered. Sometimes we use parcel for those who are in far places, like Ignatius Njuki here from Embu. We send using parcel services. Yep.
These parcel services have got even trucks, lorries, and they would deliver at night. And you pick from the office the following day.
Okay, when I was asking about the market, if all of us can look at this paper, page 5, for the profit margin for one pig is 10,000. This is very well calculated, but for 10,000, you have told us labor is 5,000. So, yeah. What you put on 5,000? This, you didn't tell us there is the medicine, there is water, there is biosecurity, and so many things. So, for the 5,000. So my request was if we can have a good market, because the price of the 30 or the 40 for farmers, surely we're not making any profit. So if you can organize a good market for us, instead of all of us, mere farmers, they are taking advantage of us farmers. Thank you.
I don't know what to say about that. Oh, so there is one particular farmer here who is going, stand up again. She mentioned that she off-takes pigs, so you can also let her tell us more. Come. How much? What? Are you cutting 40%? Yeah.
So hi. So currently, the goal is to get to Farmers' Choice to avoid the monopoly. So currently, the slaughterhouse we have, the capacity is we're doing 100 pigs per day. So I know we can't do all this, but the future, where we are headed, maybe end this year will be 70% done. Next year by August, we should have launched the official butchery. We are not doing value addition, just selling to butchers, local butchers and stuff. Currently, we are purchasing at 360, which is quite fair compared to the 324. you get from farmers. 326, I think. Sorry? So what we are doing with my numbers, I'm not responsible for your pig. I mean, the ones I'm slaughtering, I can sell to my butchers. I don't have the capacities for now. But if you have your pigs there, then you have your butcher there. You just slaughter and go. So those are the facilities we are offering currently. Practically, with the pigs we've been slaughtering, it loses 37 to 40% practically. 37 to 40%. But if you have someone anachukua kichwa, anachukua miguu, you reduce the percentage. Unaelewa? The 40% comes because you don't have someone who's taking the miguu and stuff. But by August, we'll have all that sorted out. For now, what I can offer is a facility. You come slaughter your pigs, you get your own butcher, your own local butcher, then supply to him. That's all I can offer for now. Ruiru, we are based in Ruiru. The farm is Livestock Dynasty Limited. Previously, we were known as Elite Dairies. We are more popular for cows than we are popular for pigs. So I don't know if you've met our products. We are Elite Dairies, but no Livestock Dynasty. My name is Rose Modoni. I'm the farm manager. 0715 96 0715 96 2014. Rose Modoni. So I will request if you get my number, just text me your farm, your details, then we can communicate, because I'm sure you have so many pigs. I can't take all of them at once, but we can organize. If I don't have sufficient pigs for the people I'm supplying to, I can request, if you're available, can I get your pigs?
Thanks a lot. So for us, we just concentrate on the feeds. Let us do what we know best. Then other people come in for the purchase, right? So there are some questions that are on Zoom. We are just going to read them out. Then Charles or Mulindo will help us to answer. So a question to Mr. Mulindwa. This is Maria from Uganda. If I want to do breeding of the Serenis, will you provide the market for the parent line? Because the requirements are to become a breeder are really many.
So like I said earlier, the production of Selenis and the marketing of the breed lines is highly controlled. It is controlled for one main reason. We want each farmer buying the animal to have the right quality. So the commercialization of these animals will be centralized, because we are doing this because if not centralized, farmers will sneak behind the door and have animals that are not selected go to the market. So we will only capture details in the breeding system for selected animals. So if one day you buy a parent line either from Uganda, Kenya, or Tanzania, it is very easy to verify whether it is selected for reproduction or not, because no farmer is allowed to just sell anyhowly. We control the marketing. So that means that we assist on market, yes.
Another question to you is stunted growth in piglets and winners reversible?
Stunted growth. Okay, that would be a bad one. Why do you reach there? I think that's That's the main question, because you don't want to go there. That's why we say that when you're using concentrates and you know the capacity to do proper mixing is still limiting, better use the high protein concentrates for delicate stages. Starter and earlier stages of grower. Don't use the low protein concentrate, because if you mess up the starter, the area growth, reversing it becomes unprofitable if the animal is not for breeding. I don't know whether you get me. If the animal that has gotten issues with the growth resulting from feed or bad poor management is not intended for breeding, then reversing the poor performance is unprofitable.
What happens if it also affect its organ formations and things like that? Could it happen?
You know, usually with the breeding animals, you can figure it out later, because that means that the insemination time will increase. So it will allow it more time to develop properly. But an animal for slaughter, you see with pigs, we have what we call the lean growth potential. The lean growth potential of a pig decreases with increasing age, and is almost constant at about 24 weeks. So that's why in commercial production, you either sell or sell. That's the rule. If you either sell or sell. If your animals reach 24 weeks and you haven't achieved the weight range, sell. If they have reached the weight range, again, sell. So if you insist on them, they are going to consume more food, but put on fat. The fat, the back fat will increase. And this affects the quality when you go to the market. It also affects your returns on investment. So you rather don't go there. Don't pour a feed during earlier stages of growth, and don't pour a feed during lactation. If you don't have proper means, proper ingredients, please use the high protein concentrate. Use the 25%. Why? Because fewer ingredients are involved. So easier to select quality and a little bit easier to achieve a uniform mixture. Thank you.
There were many questions for the earlier session, but you can just answer them. Let me read for you quickly. Does poor feeding of the sow in any way affect conception rates? And how can we go over it in preparation for mating? Because we are always firefighting.
You know, okay, sometimes people focus on sows, but also there are gilts at the back. You start preparing the sow from when it is still young. And poor feeding at all levels will affect the reproductive performance of that gilt or sow. For a gilt, you should make sure that it is inseminated at the recommended weight. If the genetic supplier tells you to inseminate at 130 kilograms, do that. That means that he will also give you the feeding guide to run you through so that you reach that faster. For us, for example, for nucleus, the animals will remain on the commercial hard diet for quite some time, until 115 kilograms. then you will shift them to gill-trailing deity. Okay? And you can use the low protein concentrate, no problem, but make sure that the right formulation is used to help you grow the animal up to the recommended weight. Now, feeding through lactation and the length lactation period so much affect the reproductive performance of a sow. I've seen farms where a sow takes more 4 weeks to come back in heat because it was over, I don't know, it's emaciated. So it has to first recover its body condition before it can think about coming back in heat. And even though it came back in heat, the body condition, you would be a bad person to really serve it. Because now, even the animals that it is going to produce will not perform well. So, during lactation, make sure the feed is available at all time. And since you have creep in the area, there is no reason as to why you leave piglets with a sow for 60 days. What are you up to? It's not a business. You're wasting time. It is the truth. Today we don't have a flip chart here, but I wanted us to really go step by step and do the mathematics. You wean your piglets at 60 days. You will need some days before that sow comes back in heat. Maybe more 28 days. So that's how many? 78. Oh, that food, it has eaten for free. It has occupied the space for free. It doesn't make sense at all. So if you're doing that, it's unfortunate. It's high time you change it. It doesn't make sense at all.
And what causes the sow to give birth to less piglets?
A lot of factors. It can be genetics, because some sows are prolifically poor. It can be poor nutrition as well, because there is a recommendation again from every genetic supplier on how to feed sows, most especially during the earliest days of gestation after insemination. Usually energy is a bit reduced, but follow what your genetic supplier recommends. So that can happen. It can be a factor of reproductive infections, reproductive system infections. And it can also be a factor of the semen used and the insemination process, poorly handled. It can also be a result of poor heat detection. The timing, yes. Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Anyone with a question before we break for lunch?
There was also another question on Zoom about tail docking.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Somebody asked on Zoom why do tail docking and probably what time is it? What's the logic behind tail docking? Yeah, I think it's a common practice that people do tail docking. Before I go to the logic behind, in the recent past, with the welfare awareness of animal welfare, it's very highly discouraged at this time because it's a symptom of poor management. The reason why pigs bite the tails of each other, I don't want to call it cannibalism, but because it's only the tail, is because of the stress. It's a manifestation of stress. If there is poor housing, poor feeding, poor environment, then it will lead to that bad habit of biting the other tails. And when they bite each other, it's very painful. It's also a source of infection. The flies, bacteria will get in. So tail docking is done from that perspective that it will, if there is poor management, poor housing, poor environment, then the pigs will start biting each other. When they bite each other, it's painful, it's a source of infection, so that's why it was recommended. For people who will still insist on doing it, what they advise is let a professional do it so that they can anesthetize the tail so that the pig doesn't feel the pain. And I think they also say it's best to do it very early, I think within the first 1 week, so that the pain is lesser. So I think I've answered it.
Also maybe very early in the morning before the sun is too...
Yes, very early in the morning when blood clotting is still very effective, unlike during the day when the flow of blood is very fast. Yeah. So welfare, be considerate about the welfare of the pigs. Let a professional do it with less pain. Thank you.
So another thing we want to do just before we go for break, another service that we can assist with is testing of raw materials. So Charles will talk more about it and also demonstrate here. So we'll come with the camera closer so that we present it here for the team to see. So Charles, you can talk about this gadget you're showing on this.
Yeah, I think I'll go through it very quickly. Yeah, you realize that what we sell to you will form only a part of what constitutes a complete feed. I think the highest percentage of what we sell to the pig feed farmers is 25%. So the other 75%, you will source the raw materials from the market, the general market. We've taken care of the quality of the concentrate, and we want to be sure also that the raw materials that you are using together with the concentrate will be of good quality so that you can have quality complete feed. So we, at AgriFarm, we developed, I'll say we're working with partners that developed gadgets that are portable. This is a portable NIR machine. NIR is a near infrared, one of the methods of analyzing feed. So there are two methods normally, the wet chemistry and this NIR. So over time, we've been collecting samples that are common in our market. For example, the soya, the maize byproducts, the wheat byproducts, sunflower. Since these are materials that are processed, normally they are not used while complete. Soya is usually grown as a seed, a bean seed that is pressed for oil. So we are using the byproducts. Same thing with maize. The primary purpose of the maize, mostly before we get the byproducts that come to animal feeds, is they extract the maize flour, then leave us with the byproducts. So there is a huge variation sometimes, depending on the method with which the oils are pressed or extracted, or the way the maize and wheat is extracted. From company to company, depending on the method that they use, you might see variation in the quality. And in animal feed formulation, we use assumptions. When we say this feed, we want to make a feed with a target of 16% protein. When we are doing formulation, we assume that these raw materials that you are going to use, for example, soya will have at least, say, 46% crude protein. But if you don't achieve that 46% crude protein, the overall, the complete feed will not be able to attain that nutrient level that we intended you to have so that you can have good performance. So with this gadget, we scan the feeds, the raw materials. Usually we have it, we have 1 day in a week or so that you can bring samples to Dominic's shop, Afyachoice, or Agrimix in Thika. Or if you're buying bulk, you can ask us to come and scan. If it's a truckload, we can bring the gadget to you. So it uses a Bluetooth to communicate with the gadget. So there's an app on the phone that we download. Myself, I think Dominic and other people have accounts that have access to the calibration lines on cloud. Once we have that, we connect the gadget through Bluetooth, and then we select the calibration lines that are already pre-installed in the app. For this one, I'll select the raw material. The raw material we have here is soya bean meal. And we didn't get a chance to discuss the different raw materials today, but I think we can share online. So I will select the calibration line for soybean meal. It gets calibrated. Just to demonstrate that it's a very quick process that we use to give you the results in a very few minutes. So once we have the calibration there, we open the gadget. If you see, there is a light that will be emitted from the lens here. And with the reflection, there is a way the developers have made it. Different elements reflect light differently. So it's something that's been preferred. So Dominic is already scanning. We do 5 scans so as to get a good representative result. Yeah, usually there is a ping sound when it finishes the first round. So I think we should be doing the last one. I'm mixing it so that it's also a good representative sample. Normally, if you're scanning a huge quantity, there's a sampling procedure so that you can get as many samples as possible from, say, a truck. Mix them or scan in different and do the average. So we'll scan the last one, and we also have a chance to put the name of the material, the company, if it is truck A or truck B, that way. Yeah. So immediately on the app, it will give you the results. Like on the top line, you see the moisture. 106 grams per kg. If you convert that to percentage, it's 10.6. Protein, you see it showing 489 grams per kg. If it is a percentage, it's 48.9%. Fat, you see 3 grams. Normally, 3, you see it's giving you like an alarm that it's below. But if you're looking at the protein level, it's usually high. So there is an inverse proportionality. If the protein is too high, the fat will be too low. Like I mentioned, depending on the method of extraction, if they extract the fat too much, then it means whatever is residue is the proteins, and it will show it's high. So this is just to show whatever reports that you get is to help the nutritionist and yourself to know how to use it. Most of the time, people think we analyze raw materials so as to condemn. No, it's so as to know how to utilize the raw materials. If the protein is very high like this, you utilize it effectively. If the protein is low and the price is very good, you can decide to increase the inclusion rate. But if the parameters are way below the expectations, that's when you decide to reject or to negotiate for price. I don't normally advise that you buy cheaply because it's poor quality. It's to reject if it is way below the acceptable parameters. So yes, this is a service that we offer free of charge to customers that we do business together. So we will not charge you anything to scan these raw materials. We've invested a lot to develop the calibration lines. You can imagine every line, say for soya, we have to do more than 100 wet chemistry analysis before you develop a calibration line. And to do a proper wet chemistry analysis is in excess of 100 or so euros per sample, and we have to do 100. So the company invests a lot to develop the calibration lines. So far we have for soya, sunflower, maize and maize byproducts, wheat and wheat byproducts, sunflower, DDGS, even though it's not yet very common here, it's in Uganda. And we continuously developing more calibration lines. So we will share with you online whenever we get an update. So be free, and you're welcome to utilize this to ensure that the raw materials that you're purchasing out there meets the required standard. Thank you.
Thanks very much. So this one also somebody has asked online if it can do complete feed. Yes, it does. So it's not only raw materials, but it also tests complete feed. So thanks a lot, unless there is only one with a burning question.
For the NIR, we only give the proximate analysis values. So that's the moisture, the ash content, the protein, the fat, and starch. The other values, we calculate them based on what you get from the proximate values. So we calculate also for, I think, lysine, and we also calculate for energy. So the final report will show you some of those. Let me open one final report that we download from the portal. So I'll normally, once we scan or once anyone scans, I sign in to the portal that communicates with the lab in Netherlands, in Belgium. And so that's the one we scanned today. Soya bean meal, India. I'll put Kenya. I'll put, say, poultry values. Client, I'll say Afyachoice. Then save. Once I save, I download it. So here is the report for the sample that we just scanned. Yeah, so it's showing you the measured parameters versus the reference or expected values. And the expected values are also not cast on stone. It's doing an average of all the samples, all the 100 samples that were used to make the calibration lines. So most of them were around 12.7%. Moisture, crude ash was about 6.4, crude fiber about 3.6, crude protein about 46.3, fat around 1.9, and starch 40. So it also gives you down here the calculated values, the kilocalories, because in as much as it's a source of protein, soya is a source of protein, but it also has energy because it was initially an oil seed. So there's some residual oil and some starch that is in it that will also contribute to energy. So we calculate the energy, digestible protein, lysine, and methionine. So those are the amino acids that we do the predictions based on the crude protein. I hope I've answered adequately.
Okay, thanks a lot. I think we'll just pray and close the meeting, go have lunch. Then you're welcome to visit us. As we said, we are not far. It's just 2 or 3 minutes from here. So as you exit the gate, turn left. At the junction, turn right. Once you reach Mirema Drive, turn left again. Go all the way to the flyover in Northern Bypass, and use the service lane as you go up to Marurui. We are at Thome First Avenue. It will be on your right, just opposite Total. Total is on the far end on the main road. Otherwise, asanteni sana. Tuombe. Heavenly Father, we are grateful for such a time as this that you've given us. Thank you for the sessions that we've had with our facilitators and our guests. We pray for each and every one of them that you may prosper them, O Lord. You've had the farmers with ambitions. May you make their dreams come true, Lord, because you're the giver of everything, Heavenly Father. Lord, we want to even pray for journey mercies as they are departing this place to their various places, some as far as Mwea, Embu. May you take them safely, Heavenly Father. Be their guide on the road, Heavenly Father. Thank you for the meal that has been prepared for us. We pray that you may bless it and sanctify it. For it is in Jesus Christ we pray and believe. Amen. Thank you.